they can make plays and be in position to make plays like that.
Now that's what's in the replay right there. Xavier Woods, we talked about that. Play with your eyes, trust your technique. Both times, though, Chris Richard will be very pleased where that positioning was for him for that interception.
All right, what have you seen from Dak so far in camp?
Ooh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Dak. It's interesting. He's been very up and down to me. He's had some really good days. He's had some really good throws. He's had some bad moments, too. He's thrown some regrettable interceptions. He's struggled against the secondary. It's not something that concerns me, but it's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and I feel like that creates polarizing opinions. Some people think he's having a terrible camp. Some people think he's been great. It's been a little up and down for me. I don't know. Am I being too harsh?
No, I don't think you're harsh. I think there's been, like you said, there's been...
It's interesting. He's been very up and down to me. He's had some really good days. He's had some really good throws. He's had some bad moments, too. He's thrown some regrettable interceptions. He's struggled against the secondary. It's not something that concerns me, but it's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and I feel like...
Knock it down, knock it away, just like we saw
Anthony Brown. Anthony Brown on that play right there.
Yeah.
Intended target Michael Gallup.
Yeah, Gallup's like palms up. What do you want me to do? He's telling Randall Cobb, they were trying to find space back there, and then Dak happened to move around. But I think Dak Prescott, though, it hasn't been like a stretch of just all bad plays or all bad practices. So, I think that we need to kind of keep an eye on, though, okay, who's on the field, who's blocking for him, all these things. I think Dak is very dependent on who is on the field with him. That's just the way I evaluate it.
For example, yesterday, Amari Cooper wasn't out there, Randall Cobb and Witten were not out there.
Not to mention when they went into team, no Zach Martin, no Tyron Smith.
That was a big problem on the interception because it was a clean sack. Robert Quinn beat Cam Fleming around the edge, and Dak really had nowhere to go. So, yeah, tough time right there.
And you saw John Kitna alongside Dak. A lot of people talk about Kellen Moore, the new offensive coordinator for this team, and Dak. He'll talk and say glowing things about Kellen Moore, and he'll come right back with John Kitna also. He loves that combination and coaching him right now.
I think the great thing about John Kitna is he's such an attention to detail guy. He's been there, done that, all those things you talk about a quarterback. He knows the ups and downs, the ebb and flows of what happens to quarterbacks during games and practices and stuff. Perfect balance to what he's trying. Dak has just been a sponge with John Kitna and trying to coach him up.
Yeah, and if anybody, it's not supposed to look 100% clean at training camp. That's kind of the point of this, right? I think very few people understand that better than John Kitna. He's almost got like this Zen master. What we're looking for. So just everybody maybe take a chill pill on trying to judge this team based on 6 days of practice.
And that first preseason game is next Saturday
David
night.
Hellman, we're not taking a chill
pill against the San Francisco 49ers. David Hellman, we appreciate it. Who knows? Sir. Dandy might bring David Hellman back later in the show.
Let's go. I can go another
I think he deserves another shot here. Nick Eatman will be joining us shortly. You can check out David Hellman, Brian Broaddus, Mickey Spagnola, Nick Eatman, and Ron. Continue with more of the blue-white scrimmage in just a moment from Oxnard, California.
Hi, this is Mickey Spagnola. I'm on the sideline here at the blue-white scrimmage at the Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, California. It's a beautiful 70 degrees out here. Now the sun went away. Probably getting time to get a little chilly.
Mickey Spagnola, the weatherman.
Thought I'd give you an idea of some of the guys that still have not returned to practice because of injuries. Sean Lee is not taking part in this blue-white scrimmage. He's got a sprained MCL. It's a miter sprain, and he told me today that if the Cowboys had to play a game next week, he would be able to go. Also not practicing Cowboys Pro Bowl guard Zach Martin. Martin's got an irritation of a back disc. He's missed the last few days of practice.
Close call with Zach.
Probably they're going to rest him to hope
really
that
happy he's nothing really wrong
down in a while. Amari Cooper's got a heel issue going on, and they're going to take a scan of the heel and see exactly what's going on. He's not participating. They think that he'll be okay. It's a minor injury. And then Coney Wickman, a guard, suffered a serious calf strain in practice the other day, and it looks like he's probably going to be out for about a month. So they're a little short on guards when it comes to these practice sessions. We'll be back with you later in the scrimmage.
Testing.
Dallas Cowboys training camp continues here in Oxnard, California. Of course, this is the 60th year of the Dallas Cowboys franchise. It's the 40th year the Cowboys have conducted training camp here in California. 27 years they were down the Ventura Freeway in Thousand Oaks, California. This is now 13 years in Oxnard, 8 straight years here. Bill Jones with Brian Broaddus, and we're now joined by Nick
Testing.
Beekman of DallasCowboys.com. Nick, how are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks, Bill. Brian?
He's been here all 13 of them.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
That's good.
Yeah.
Veteran guy.
Yeah.
You know, it's cooler here than it seemed like it was the last few years. It was getting kind of
Really, I agree.
hot. Now it's back to the way it was.
Yeah, you're sporting the pullovers here.
Yeah.
Veteran moves here.
That's right.
Veteran moves.
It's a big, and I think the high today is 74 degrees. We hate bringing that up for the folks back in Texas, but we like bringing it up on our from our benefit. What are you seeing out here, Nick?
You know, you guys have talked about it a little bit earlier, but these defensive backs have really done well, in my opinion, in this camp, and they're doing so just on their own because a lot of the 7-on-7s, obviously, there's no pass rush, and they're doing it without their best cornerback in Byron Jones. But when you see the fact that they're hanging in there for 4, 5, 6 seconds at a time, they're getting their hands on the balls, getting a lot more interceptions. That's a good sign because you know DeMarcus Lawrence and will be there to kind of help that.
Do you feel like, Nick, that the way they've drafted and the way they've signed guys, it's kind of like, okay, we're looking at Chris Richard's group, we're looking at those long, rangy types, and it's making a difference on some of these plays, especially those contested balls.
Exactly. Alomba is a guy that we saw yesterday get his hands on 8, 9 balls. I mean, it was an
big play award winner for sure.
Definitely, but you know, it's not just those guys too, because we talk about it all the time, and then Jordan Lewis says, well, "Watch this. I'm not the big tall guy, but I can make plays, and he's feisty."
Anybody out there?
But you know, I think it starts with the pass rush. A great quote by Alex, 8 in the pocket with a pass rush. But these guys are making plays without that, so that's a good sign.
You know, we look at number 19, Amari Cooper, right there. He missed practice yesterday, is also being held out today. He has a bruised heel, but it's
injuries,
not serious. In fact, in Jason Garrett's press conference today, he left it open that there was a chance that he might be out here practicing today. They got a day off again tomorrow, and now he'll probably be back on Tuesday. It just gives him an extra day.
I look for reasons to hold these guys out. I mean, Amari Cooper, Zach Martin. Oh, what do you have a nosebleed? Out for a while. I mean, it's these guys are established.
I will say this with Zach Martin's injury, and hopefully he'll be back within the next week. It's up to a week, basically. They're giving rest. The MRI showed an irritation on a disc in his back. Anytime you're dealing with a back, it gives you cause.
Yeah, and this is what, Shane, when you talk about the Zach Martin injury, though, Connor McGovern. If Connor McGovern could have been in there, and seen. Now, Suafilo, nice player. We saw what he was able to do, substitute last year. Nice job stepping in. Joe Looney now having to play a little bit of guard, but I would have loved to see Connor McGovern get an opportunity here. But with the pec, he needs more strength there, and that's something that's kind of holding him back right now.
And Connor McGovern is the 3rd-round draft pick out of Penn State. We haven't seen him at all here in training camp so far. So we pick back up with the action out on the field. Dak Prescott always engaging, even the defensive players.
Yeah, he knows. He doesn't want. He's shaking hands there with Jalen Smith. He's like, hey, give me a shot, man. Give me a window to throw a ball in, because it has been a little bit tough. Nick, we talked about, though, and David and Bill, and we've all mentioned about Dak Prescott, what have you seen as far as the mechanics, anything like that kind of stand out differently from the previous 3 years?
Yeah, you know what? I think it was Dave that said he's kind of been up and down, and that is true. The thing about Dak, and
Old man wit.
whatever the reason, he's never been a great practice player. He never has been. He kind of, the lights come on type of thing. But with the new offense with Kellen Moore, I do like some of the intermediate throws that I'm seeing out of him. He seems a lot, he seems to have that 18, 19-yard hitch.
All right, I think it started.
Crossing routes. He's connecting on those a little bit more.
Yeah, I
let's
think
get it. Let's get it.
Right there.
Let's see what you got, Dak.
When Dak misses, it's by yards. When he was not accurate, he's missing by yards.
Please make that
and
one.
yeah, so please make, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, never mind.
But yeah, when he
I don't think it
misses,
started yet.
at times he missed by yards, and now it's more like inches. You've seen in the OTAs, the mini camps, and stuff like that. Throws that he's missed have just been slightly off the mark. I mean, he's missed some balls down the field, but he's also hit a few as well. It's just that consistency, though. I think he's looking for that. He's fishing for that consistency. If he can find it, though, again, that elevates his game.
We're watching some of the action prior to us coming on the air, some of the team stuff that occurred. They're treating this like a game day, basically.
Right.
They came out, and it's a good dress rehearsal, so to speak,
Absolutely.
for the first preseason
Right.
game at San Francisco. And so they came out a little early before we came on. And we're going to show you prior to us coming on the air.
Some of the stuff you see, like if you go to the game, you're at the stadium, and then they work on
prior to us coming on the air, some of the
get loose, wrap some plays, and get some plays together, get some rhythm if they can. And then
they're treating this
get
like a
everybody
game
on the
day,
same page,
basically.
right.
They came
Lather up
out,
and
and
go right into
it's a good dress rehearsal, so to speak, for the
Absolutely.
first preseason
Right.
game at San Francisco.
Coming at you in just a moment
So they came out a little
as we
early before
continue
we
with
came
our
on.
blue-white scrimmage coverage from Oxnard, California.
We're going to show you prior.
Hi, Mickey Spagnola back here with you on the sideline. The Cowboys are just coming out of their break right now, and they're going into a team period. I think if you haven't been paying attention to training camp here of late, if you see a number 23 out there, that's Alfred Morris, the former Cowboys running back. He had played with the Cowboys in 2016 and 2017. He was a free agent last year. The Cowboys wanted him back, but he decided he thought he had a better opportunity to go to San Francisco. He only signed a one-year deal, so the Cowboys, knowing that they needed some experience depth at the running back with Ezekiel Elliott not here, re-signed Alfred Morris. And the good thing about it didn't really cost them all that much against the salary cap. He signed for the veteran exception. And that just cost the Cowboys $735,000 against the cap. And that's a good thing, because before he got there with Zeke out, all those guys that were running backs, the other four, only had 6 carries in the National Football League. We'll be back with you as the scrimmage continues.
Darius Jackson, number 26. Tony Pollard, 36. It's kind of easy to remember.
It's the Dallas Cowboys blue-white scrimmage.
Mike Weber,
it's from Oxnard,
40.
California. Bill Jones, Brian
Alfred
Broaddus,
Morris,
Nick
23.
Mickey Spagnola
Jordan
on the
Chun,
sideline.
46.
And we're going to go right to the action here as the Cowboys back out on the field. Working on that red zone. And Brian Broaddus, they need to work on that red zone after last year.
I'll tell you what they do. And you see right there, nice run, though, inside there. It looks like Pollard. These young backs have a nice feel for how to find that hole. They press, and then you get the cutback. Especially behind this big offensive line, seeing Travis Frederick back in there. Boy, it's nice to have him back in there, Nick, because he can cut the defense in half the way and allow you to make those cuts.
And I think, for more than anything, recognition of things for Frederick. When you get down there and it gets tight, you kind of know where things are, where the blitz is coming from. I think that's going to help a lot.
That was ones versus
Brett
ones.
Maher,
The
field
touchdown
goal.
by Tony Pollard, and the point after attempt
Oh, he missed it.
is
Did he?
good.
That was
There
good.
you go.
Brett Maher last year won the place kicking duties over Dan Bailey.
Yeah, we have to actually pay attention to kickers now, don't we, Nick? Because last year,
definitely.
all of a sudden, we got to the final cut, and you go, oh, by the way, they just cut Dan Bailey. And then we all kind of looked at each other like, whoa, maybe I should have paid a
After
little.
Maher made a 57-yarder in the final
and that's
preseason
what-
game in Houston.
Yeah, Brad Sham and I was doing the radio with him. I go, well, he's doing a nice job of giving himself a look for other teams. I didn't know it was the team I'm looking at, that he was going to be the kicker.
All right, we got twos versus twos here. What they're doing, they're starting out at 1st and 10 from the plus 25-yard line, which is what they call the red zone.
What they call the red zone. And this, and you
Like
talk
college
about
overtime.
Exactly. This is when, when you talk about red zone, Bill, earlier, this is where I think the guys like Jason Witten, and I know we're looking at twos right now. It looks like we got a little running with the quarterback. Oh, no, it's a reverse. Excuse me there, right there. Nice job with
Cedric Wilson.
Cedric Wilson.
Second-year man out of Boise State.
Yes,
Red
sir.
from last year.
Yes, sir. But I think this is where guys like, we'll go to the replay here of it, though. Nice job here, though, with Wilson. They're going to fake. Look at all the movement up front. Gets the defense to flow away, and
Watch
then
the
you got blockers out front, man.
And look at Cooper Rush leading the way into the end zone.
I think
tell you what.
Looney got one, too.
Well, they had a lot of guys in front, and that's a good job on Kellen Moore. A little bit different wrinkle right there of sending everybody one way, bringing the ball back. That's what you kind of do. The guy with the good teams, the Rams, the Saints, those good offensive teams have the ability to misdirection and come back the other way.
And it works even more when you have Zeke in there, obviously.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure does.
Just because the linebackers are going to be cheating that way.
Speaking of linebackers, 57, the rookie out of Nebraska, Luke Gifford is in there right now
Boy, Bill,
alongside Joe Thomas.
I'll tell you what, you're good at your job, Bill, because that's exactly the spot I was looking at right there. Luke Gifford has come in here, though, and he showed a little bit in the OTAs and minicamp. I was excited. He usually played as an outside linebacker at University of Nebraska, and then you saw him rushing the passer quite more, but they got him inside. Right there on your right side of the screen, working with Joe Thomas. Let's see if they look like the Rockettes moving together right there. I'll tell you what, good job, Luke Gifford. Spin back inside and help on the tackle there. That's what you got to do. Play square
Gifford,
and then
looking
get
nice
back
in
inside and
camp.
make those tackles.
Look at live action here.
He's
Red
anything
zone,
like
twos
Leighton.
versus twos with Cooper
That'll
Rush
be
at
awesome.
quarterback for the Cowboys. The offense.
Gifford is 57.
It's a straight quarterback draw, it looked like, or just a read option there with the play there. I tell
We've
you,
seen a little bit of that.
we've seen a little bit. It's funny. I've never seen Cooper Rush run this much. The last 2 days, he's been really involved, with the read option stuff and carried the ball on the outside. It's a play we usually kind of see for Dak Prescott. That quick read option, you get the end to come upfield. Here's the replay of that inside fake handoff, and then boom, he's going to take it. So once you get that defensive end of those down linemen to commit, and he sees that space, then it's his job to go inside there and then score the touchdown the way he did.
Let's check in with Mickey Spagnola on the sideline, get Mickey's impressions of what he's seeing out here.
Yeah, and that play fake went to Jordan Chun, and don't go to sleep on this guy. They really like him, and as you noticed in the when they ran goal line, they were handing the ball off to Chun.
Yeah, we got Jordan Chun. I know him too well. He was Troy. Went to school there, Troy, Alabama, and he just destroyed my LSU Tigers one day in a game. And so I know all well of Jordan Chun. He's a very talented back. He's a good-looking back physically, too. Square built, tough.
6 foot, 230 pounds.
Good lower body, and he will punish you. So we'll see these games, these preseason games and stuff, of him getting the opportunity to carry the mail a little bit.
Especially around the goal line. He's a touchdown-making machine
absolutely.
near the goal line throughout his career.
Well, there's that. We've seen a lot of this boot and waggle. Those are the nakeds too. Something else that you kind of see there. That those get the quarterback out on the edge.
Power right up the gut.
And that's a football in a phone booth right there. Not much going on. But you got this is where those young linemen are, Nick. You got the young guards like guys like Redmond. I know you got a veteran at center there with Joe Looney, but a lot of these young guys getting an opportunity here to kind of show what they got.
Yeah, you kind of feel bad for the guy, Wickman just because he was doing a pretty nice job.
I thought he was too.
And then he gets hurt with a calf injury, which is a devastating injury to anyone. And then
is that including yourself?
Yes, including myself. The non-athletes for sure. But I mean, especially with Zach Martin out, and he was working with the second team. So this gives Redmond, like you said, an opportunity to do some nice things here.
And the point after the touchdown by the Twos. And that is not Brett Maher, of course. That is Casey Redfern wearing number 1.
Yeah, Casey Redfern, though, has kind of come in here. He's been the guy that they've tabbed as to help out. He can punt, he can kick off. He's as a kicker. He hasn't been nearly as consistent enough. And they've done a good job over the years of bringing these guys in to kind of give you a little. Just a great example was last year. But Casey Redfern just not consistent enough.
No, last year when Dan Bailey was kicking, I think the thought was if he struggled, they'd go find someone else. It probably wouldn't be Maher, but then Maher made every kick. I think if Maher struggles now, I think they've got a list of some other people on the outside. I don't believe Redford would be the guy, especially the way he's been kicking here inconsistently.
See the ones back out there. Dak Prescott at quarterback. Going back the other way to Darius Jackson.
Yeah, trying to set up the screen to that side over there, though. Got the defense to move to their left and react. But this defense, though, the ability to run at linebacker, you see it again here. They get the fake and then the movement to get that way. Some blockers in front, though, but a bunch of those guys in those blue shirts can run. We've seen that.
If I had to answer one thing that seems the most different about Kellen Moore, I would say they throw back across the field way more than they ever had before. I mean, I've seen Dak is doing it a lot. I mean, it takes a strong arm and some patience to be able to do that.
When 21 gets back.
Yeah.
That play.
Do that all day long.
Go ball underneath. Nothing going on down the field. That's Jackson once again, though. He's come in. I mean, all this talk with Zeke being out and stuff like that, and then they bring in Alfred Morris. He just kind of kept pretty steady. He hasn't let anything really bother him too much. He's been physical when they've handed him the ball. He had a nice finish the other day. Watch again. There's the fake inside. And we're going to check it down to him, though. Good job by Jalen Smith to get over there. Yeah, exactly. You're not going to run. You get Leighton Vander Esch. Those are two guys inside right there to light you up a little bit.
Well, and how about those linebackers? I mean, it's the season that Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch had last year. It's just, when you think about this year and the future with those two guys, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I'm going to make a big comparison here. And, someone asked me about, do you see that maybe Leighton Vander Esch might have a sophomore slump? I said no. This to me is Luke Kuechly. This is you start great as a freshman, or as a first-year player. I say as a freshman, as a first-year player, and then every year you get better and better and better. I just don't see a decline. I just don't.
Obviously, he's got the physical tools.
Absolutely.
But you're talking about the intangibles.
He's got the intangibles. Yes, he's tough. It's important to him. I mean, you see him play the game, and he's got that weird look in his eye. You watch him play, and
kind of like Sean Lee.
Sean Lee, exactly.
That's what Jason Garrett was talking about. Sean Lee, he sort of has a crazy look in his eyes.
Yeah, he's just, you want to just talk to him, and then you're scared to death. I mean, but yeah, I was really impressed with him, Nick. The learning curve, very, very small. But Jason Garrett told us today, hey, no, I mean, this guy, he's instinctive. He's tough. He studies the game. It's important to him. That's why you have a small learning curve.
I remember one time Dexter Coakley telling me that he's not going to let up because that win wouldn't let him. Those two guys are pushing each other, and I think these two linebackers do the same thing.
Absolutely do. I see right there at 79, Bill, is
Tristan Hill.
Tristan Hill right in the middle of this defense line, playing him as that under tackle 3 technique.
Working with the ones here.
Sure is.
Second-round draft pick out of Central Florida. It's Darian Thompson, number 23.
Yeah, Mickey said earlier about 23, Alfred Morris. They do have the double numbers there with Thompson, who's, he's from Boise, so he's going to make plays. I mean, his whole defense is from Boise.
He's going to be a Cowboy.
Right.
Yeah, nice job of him, though, playing not getting on the tight end there. As far as getting on, being draped on him, but playing with that offhand, knocking the ball down. Man, we're seeing these safeties and corners get their hands on a lot of footballs.
Another Boise State player, Darian
Covington,
Thompson.
95, the free agent pickup from the Houston Texans.
Love
in
him,
their
guys.
tackle.
I love that guy.
Penetration that time.
Yeah, there you go. He's
Good
I tell you
call,
what-
Brian.
I tell you what, my old saying is
wow.
my old saying is the Coke machine with arms. He's
Scoop and scoot.
scoop and scoot. But with Covington though, Christian Covington, you watched Houston Texans film last year, and I'll tell you what though, they've got some rushers. Of course, they've got guys. There he goes. Nice job of swimming around there, getting to the gap. That's what you got to do.
Look at Jordan Lewis stripping that football out, number 27.
Jordan Lewis, Nick called it. That's
All
a
right,
big time
Jordan.
football player there. But I'll go back to, you've got the guys like Watt and Clowney and those guys. Christian Covington, they had a general manager's change. And sometimes when you have a general manager's change at a place, you got to focus on teams because they'll let good players go. I think they let a good player go right there in Christian Covington. And, nice job by Alex Loomis and those guys in the pro department, Terry Gray, of watching good tape and finding this player. This guy could be a nice little rotational player at that nose tackle spot for these guys.
And they needed that, too.
They sure did.
Brett
Sure did.
Maher with the field goal there. And Covington from Canada played his college football at Rice.
I'll tell you what, though, I was really that tape just jumped out to me, guys. I mean, it was so impressive. I'm like, how do you let this guy go? But
Yeah.
teams make mistakes. They let guys go for certain reasons. Coaching changes, general managers get fired, whatever. Hey, pick them up when you can.
Huddle up time. Let's huddle up. I was going to say let's huddle up with Mickey Spagnola, but it's Bill Jones, Brian Broaddus, and Nick Eatman here. As let's bring in Mickey Spagnola and get his impressions, what he's seen so far out there. Mickey?
I was watching the one-on-one pass rush drill, and a guy that had a really good day was Jalen Jelks, the rookie defensive end, 7th-round draft choice, and the offensive linemen were having a hard time blocking him in that drill. And I think, and I agree with you guys on the throwback passes that have been executing. As a matter of fact, there was one yesterday in practice where I believe it was Tavon Austin. They forgot all about him in the left side of the end zone. He was wide open as Dak was trying to extend the play. And I thought it was interesting, you guys, in Jason Garrett's press conference today talked about how you've got 3 seconds to get that play off, and if you don't, if your quarterback can extend the play, you got to be able to do that, especially when you get close to the end zone when everything's compacted. Another funny little thing here I saw on the sideline when they were early in the team drill, they called holding on Jason Witten, and he let the official have it. So Jason hasn't lost his fire one bit.
Went too high.
There's a little
Too high
tip
rush.
drill pick right there at the 40-yard line.
I think that was March Lillard, if I'm not mistaken, in making that play right there. But, that's to me, this is, Mickey's right about Jelks. This is a comparison, and forgive me, his body looks like to me like Jason Taylor.
Yeah.
Remember Jason Taylor? He's a Hall of Famer
Yes,
for the
Hall of
Miami
Famer.
Member. But I'll tell you what, though, the coaches love him. You can kick him down
Sideline
inside in Oregon.
pass.
They did that and played him
Anthony
down
Brown
in the 3.
pushing him
He's got
out.
some toughness for
Nice
a big
play.
guy, though.
Tony
He's got
Pollard.
some power and strength as well.
What they're
Tony
doing
Pollard,
here is
man,
this
he's
is
gonna be
2-minute
nice.
offense,
He's gonna be Dak's
and,
best friend.
They started out 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line.
PPR leagues.
Simulating an
Give us a
end-of-game
contribution.
situation.
Yeah, you got the rush, Dorrance Armstrong. Those guys
Dak going
protection
deep.
outstanding right there. Dak
Oh,
making
too
the
high.
throw down the field and trying to get that on the sidelines down
John
there to
Bea.
John Bay Johnson. And
I've been hearing a lot about John Bea.
John Bay Johnson. It's good to see him getting some
Making some
continue to
noise
get
out there.
work with the ones. They're not afraid to throw him or Jalen Guyton out there in those situations.
Great opportunity with Amari Cooper out and Randall Cobb gets some veteran days. When that
Yep, no
happens,
Amari
those guys
Cooper,
are
so you
jumping
get
in.
his chance
Reggie
right here.
Davis, Guyton, John Ray, like you said.
One of those maybe 1 or 2 of those young players is going to make this final roster. I mean, you got your 4 and then find the final 2 spots. I think there's a couple of veterans. We haven't even seen Noah Brown, and I know they love Noah Brown
Pollard
on
again.
special teams and stuff, but we haven't seen him yet.
Who's
so
the 4? Who's the 4th?
I think the 4th.
Tavon?
I think I wouldn't have Tavon though. I don't have Tavon there.
Gallup, Cooper, and Cobb. Who's your 4?
I think I might go with one of those young guys
Wow.
and then add Davis and
So,
one of the.
so it could be 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, exactly right.
Right, but if they keep Tavon, and Tavon is here on a contract that will allow him to make the the team, and it's
Yeah.
not a big salary cap.
Right.
But they've
So it's
also
a very
tried-
smart contract
Yeah,
on his part.
but they've
That
tried-
was Tony Pollard, by the way.
That sure
receiving
was.
in.
Yeah.
And what we're going to see from Tony Pollard is catching that football out of the backfield a lot.
He could, and they did it the other day to him on the compete drill. They put him out there one-on-one, and he just ran right by Jalen Smith. So
Pressure on Dak right
having
there.
a little trouble right now getting the ball out there.
Defense is
Good pressure,
doing their
though, by the
thing.
defense here. I mean, that's what I've been noticing, that these guys have been getting after this offensive line pretty well.
'81, by the way, is John Vay Johnson.
Yes.
A lot of Allen Eagle and North Texas fans. Jalen Guyton is number 83. So when he gets in there, you'll be looking out for number 83, and he's had a very nice camp so far.
The old man Witt.
We're focused a little bit there on Jason Witten. He's, tell you what, he's done
Come
a
on,
really
cameraman.
nice job
Show the
with,
ball.
catching the ball. I mean, that's what he can always do, Nick. But I mean, you can actually see he's coming out of his breaks and stuff like
Right.
that. Found the old fountain of youth.
Yeah.
Playing the way he has.
And if yesterday was any indication, he had a couple of touchdowns there by the red zone, or that might have been 2 days ago, actually.
Right.
But that's the type of thing that they need to maybe put him over the hump when it comes to red zone.
Yeah, continue. If you look at what's going on here, Kellen Moore trying to spread him out, though. Here's the pre-snap motion stuff that we've kind of seen throughout camp. And then creating
Moore,
those
pre-snap
bunch
motion.
formations, trip formations, though, trying to scatter from that, give Dak Prescott some windows to throw the ball in.
And it's Pollard again, the near side of the field.
Yeah, Dak is wearing them out, looks like underneath here, just trying to move the ball down the field. Nice adjust by Pollard there, right there. Ball was a little high to him, though, able to make the reception. Now, that's what he can do. Bill, you talked about it. He's going to get a bunch of balls thrown his direction when he gets the opportunity. And, yesterday he had an opportunity to blitz pickup as well. So he needs to do a little bit more of that.
How about here? You got Randall Cobb, 18, and number 10, Tavon Austin in the game at the same time.
Yeah.
Cooper out.
Ball underneath again. It's like a Blake Jarwin.
Jarwin,
Yeah.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah,
This is 2
Jarwin.
minutes in the game, so it's a hurry-up situation.
Look out for
They did have
Jarwin this year.
two timeouts
This year.
to start in this situation.
Got some nice options.
Started with a
Got some nice options this year on offense.
Yeah, Blake Jarwin's has had a really nice camp as well. People have asked me, would this coaching staff, in fact, start him if they got into a game with 11 personnel over Jason Witten? Coaches tend to go back to what they know.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, Blake Jarwin's making a point that he needs to be on the field if they're throwing the ball down the field.
The situation they're working on, you saw the clock there. There's 30 seconds left. They are down. The offense is down 24-20.
So need a touchdown here to get this game over with. But this is where Jason Garrett has talked about this. 2-minute offense is huge in his book. Loves to practice it as much as possible.
29-yard line. He spends a lot of time in practice and has increased the amount of time that he spends on 2-minute offense.
He sure does. I mean, and it's important because he knows the stats. He knows how difficult. I mean, he was even saying, 13 of the 16 games last year, they were within a touchdown or less. And so he knows how important it is before the half and then also at the end of the game. And Dak Prescott is actually one of the masters of being able to do this 2-minute offense stuff.
Try the low angle here.
That's like Soldier Field in Chicago right here. Yeah, kind of low angle.
There we go.
Looks like the ball went up there. That was John Vay Johnson.
Vay Johnson, 81, the undrafted rookie. By the way, our up top shot, it's from the tower up there. We have difficulty following the flight of the ball, so we're trying to go with the low angle here.
There you go.
Because we don't have the same range as what you would have in a normal game situation. So work with us here.
I like being down here as opposed to being up there. That thing's a little
Too many years
a little shaky, a little windy up there.
Too many years of Bill and I in that scissors lift up there.
That's right. That's
Blowing
right.
around pretty good. Well, this is, let's see if one of these rushers can get home now. The rush has been pretty good, though, but nobody really, there's inside right there. Malik Collins, looked like they tried a little escape ball down the field. Oh, just too wide outside. Good coverage. Safety over the top once again.
Cheeto, 24 also. It's John Vay Johnson.
Looks like Jeff Heath.
Jeff Heath.
Got a little nicked up there. good range by Heath, getting all the way over the ball down the far sideline, and you have coverage. It's very, very well. No spot for that ball to get in there.
And that, again, was an end-of-game situation, down by 4 points, and throwing for the end zone on the 4th down play. As the team comes up, huddles up together here. This, the blue-white scrimmage isn't your daddy's blue-white scrimmage. Going back to the days of even in Thousand Oaks or in Austin especially, where we used to have it at the Burger Center, it would be the Cowboys versus the Houston Oilers one time and at the Alamo Stadium in San Antonio. But it's all about today's NFL and with the CBA and the ability to get physical in practice. But when we have the scrimmage portion of this, when the 2s and 3s, the young guys are going against each other, be a 12-play scrimmage there where they'll actually be taking runners to the ground.
And that'll be a situation, we talk about these young guys like John Bay Johnson, you might just be a scrimmage to others, but to them, these are the opportunities that these guys really need.
Yeah, I think that to me, this is where you're trying to figure out who you can trust and who you can put out in these preseason games to get more opportunity. Play well the blue-white scrimmage, you'll get more opportunities in practice and in these preseason games.
But what this does, this is a typical practice for the Cowboys here in training camp.
Yes,
and so for you back home in Texas, or you're watching wherever you are on DallasCowboys.com, you're getting an up-close look at what goes on during training camp practice. And actually, you get more out of this than a blue-white scrimmage because you're seeing what they actually are doing on a regular basis and preparing for the season.
And speaking of that, looking in the huddle right there, Brandon Knight playing the left guard. This is something that Coach talked about, that he might take a tackle, might take a guard, it might take somebody and move him around a little bit. And this is Brandon Knight, an opportunity here. They're short at guard, but he's getting there. Does a nice job of hanging in there and getting a little help from Joe Looney. Going to get a run from Mike White, but that's what you got to have. All of a sudden you're playing tackle, and then maybe you're a practice squad guy, but oh, wait a minute, you show some versatility where you can play some guard too. Okay, now we really want to keep you on that practice squad. Right there, good job sitting up. That's what you got to do. You got to, and that was going against Christian Covington right there. Sit down. Maybe he's a little compromised in space, but inside where it's a little tighter in there, maybe a better fit for him.
Yeah, because those tackles, there's a lot of talk about Mitch Hyatt being an All-American at Clemson and some of the other tackles that they signed. But if you can be a difference, maker as a tackle and a guard, now you can go into a game as a backup to 4 different positions.
Right.
If you can play guard and tackle. So that might separate him with some of these other tackles.
I mentioned Mitch Hyatt, who played at Clemson. He has been working with the 3s at left tackle. Right now, Cam Fleming, number 75, is your left tackle. He's the backup to Tyron Smith.
Yeah, ball was just a little too far down the field right there for Devin Smith,
Tristan Deku on the coverage. And we do have the officiating crew here this weekend. Tony Corrente's crew, referee.
Yeah, and the players, I think this is good with some of the subtle rule changes, and I'm calling it subtle because we really don't know what's going to happen with all that pass interference stuff, but we'll see. But it's nice for the officials to be able to work with the players, and then the players have an idea, okay, you're going to call this, oh, you're not going to call that. It kind of gives you an idea, gives you a little game plan which you can get away with.
And Jason Garrett believes in these preseason games that coaches are going to be more aggressive in challenging potential pass interference penalties, just to see sort of what that strike zone will be once they get into the regular season, how they'll call it.
Well, all we need is exactly, Bill. What we need is consistency from game to game. You don't need to be traveling. You play the game against the Giants, and then the next week against Washington, it's a completely different game. You just want these officials to have consistency in the way they're calling these games.
We continue here as the offense is down in the red zone. Mike White under center. Second-year man out of Western Kentucky.
Yeah, he's, again, they need more from Mike White. He needs to step up.
Yeah, come on, Mike White.
And, to prove why,
step up, man.
They have a lot of high hopes for him.
Hey, someone to step up. We need a backup quarterback.
They need to see some growth from him. They need to see some development, and it's been really, really slow for him.
Mickey Spagnola, what are you seeing?
Stephen Jones here, if you would like to get a word with him.
Well, go ahead.
Well, let's do it. Stephen, good blue and white scrimmage. You got a nice crowd here. Well, what was your impression so far?
Well, first of all, you see a lot of competition out there, and a lot of young guys getting some opportunities. Obviously, 81, John Day had some opportunities out there that I think with experience he'll make good on those. And you know, a lot of guys getting some good reps. I thought 36, Pollard really stood out today and made some good plays for us out there. And you know, overall, it's good football weather out here. Kind of feels like fall, a little overcast, but guys are competing out there to make plays.
You know, one of the things I've noticed over the last couple of days and a little bit here also, you know, there was a lot of consternation about the backup quarterback, but Cooper Rush has really stepped up and elevated his play during this camp and even in this scrimmage.
Well, he's doing a great job. He's really getting his hands around the system. I think he really makes good decisions. He gets rid of the ball. He's maybe leading the whole pack in terms of how fast he's getting rid of the ball, making good decisions, and I think everybody's really getting comfortable, you know, with him. And then Mike's making a catch. He's spinning the ball really well, and you know, it's just he's 1 year behind Cooper in terms of getting his hands around the system, but I know he's going to keep plugging away at it.
Didn't know Cooper could run the ball. He got down there in the goal line and ran a read option.
Well, he's a little sneaky like that. He's got a little more speed and quickness than you think, and if you give him some lanes out there, he's got a good instinct for moving around the pocket, and you know, if you let him, he'll also move around that pocket and make some plays down the field with the ball.
Defense has been awfully active. It looks like they're getting a really good rush on Dak Prescott, making it difficult and easier on your secondary to cover these wide receivers.
Well, it's always the chicken and the egg on the secondary and the defensive line. Everybody always says, well, that secondary gets a lot better when those quarterbacks got to throw it quicker, and vice versa. But obviously Xavier, I've seen him make a couple of plays on the ball as well. But, you know, it's just a good, deep group of defensive linemen that we have in camp. I think we've improved basically every year since Rod's been here. And of course, we're doing a lot of good work out here without DeMarcus Lawrence and without Ty Crawford, who are two of our better players. So it's really great to see the guys active, moving around, and making plays out there.
You know, especially even today, a healthy Malik Collins really makes a difference at that three-technique defensive tackle.
Well, he's having a heck of a camp. It's not just today. He's been come to work every day in practice. Had some great days against Zach Martin, which is rare, and then followed him up with good days against Connor Williams and Suafilo, and you know, he's just he's playing some really good football, and I know he understands what a contract year means. And the good news is he's looks like he's stepped his game up, and we certainly want to benefit from that because you know, he's a really, really sound football player. He's setting a good example for Tristan, and Tristan's doing some good things out there as well. He's got a lot to learn under Rod, but I think he's going to make an impact for us right away.
Yeah, I think Rod nicknamed him the Caboose right away, and then somebody asked him, he moved up to the dining car, and somebody asked him today, is he still in the dining car? And he said he just got the menu, so he's got a ways to go. But yeah, he has shown up quite a bit. You mentioned Zach Martin. Can you give me an update on where his back is? He hadn't practiced the last couple of days, having a little back disc irritation.
Well, like a lot of guys out here, you want to be conservative with guys we know how to play the game, and you know some of our best football players out here, and certainly Amari's not out here as well with his heel, but Zach's got a little back issue he's battling there, but you know, we've got some really great doctors who are advising him there, and they feel like you know, if he'll do the proper rehab on that you know, hopefully this thing we'll see him really make some big improvement over the next couple of weeks. And obviously the most important thing is we get him ready for the Giants.
Yeah, and talking with you mentioned Amari Cooper with the heel. It looks like they just wanted to maybe give him some rest here. There's your new wide receiver, Mando Cobb, who, you know, he's a different dimension than Cole Beasley. He seems like he can get down the field, and they're taking some deep shots to him.
They do it differently. As you said, they're different players. Cole had some things he does better than Cobb, but Cobb certainly has some things that he's bringing to the table that he can probably stretch the field better than Cole did. So, and then on top of that, he's got that quarterback mentality. He's very quarterback friendly. All our coaches and scouts have noticed that. he's a real leader in terms of the huddle, in terms of the receiver room. So he's been a great addition for us. No way anything against Cole. We think the world of Cole and wish him nothing but the best. But, one of the things that's real interesting is our top 4 receivers weren't on our team when we started the 2018 draft. And so 1 through 4 are kind of new to the scene over the last 15 months. But they're doing a great job adapting with Dak. Dak's really, I think, getting comfortable with them. They all have their roles, from Amari to Gallup to Cobb to Tavon. They've all doing a great job, all working hard at it, and all bring something to the table.
Your impressions of what the running backs have done so far without Ezekiel Elliott here?
Well, I think they're all doing a great job. Obviously, I mentioned early on that 36 Pollard's really stepping up and doing a great job. He brings so much to the table, whether it's special teams, but what we're seeing out here, what he brings the dimension of catching the ball out of the backfield, and then of course just his running. A lot of people wanted to really, put him in that nickelback type role, but I think he can take the carries as well. And then of course to get a veteran who we all know can play the game well, and Alfred Morris, we're not going to overwork him. We know what he can do well too. And then the young guys, D-Jack and Sean, are doing a good job as well. So it's a great group. Obviously, when Zeke gets here, it'd be great to have him back as well.
You want to break any news on him or anything?
We got no news, unfortunately. Right now, I guess they don't want to talk just yet. So, no, this is a business, and we're talking about 3 of our not only best football players but best people, and we're gonna figure this out at some point, and we'll just
no
keep
news breaking for Steven.
Steven, thanks very much for joining us here. Bill, back to you.
All right, Mickey, our thanks to the Cowboys Chief Operating Officer, Stephen Jones. Not a lot of conversation going on right now between Zeke and the Cowboys, it sounds like.
But if there was, do you think he would say it?
No, I don't think so either.
What's funny though, Steven and Jerry, they're pretty honest guys.
Yes.
They really are. I mean, you ask them a direct question, you get a direct answer. So yeah, he's like, yeah, we're working on this, but he's really tongue in cheek right there. But again, he's absolutely right. This is a business, and that's the side of this that's really unfortunate though. But man, he has to hold strong because he's got so many players that this is a roster that's young and it's deep. And all of a sudden, if you cave on one guy, they're all going to be lined up for you.
Okay, let me ask both of you. We get ready for the scrimmage time here, but with the ones out there just now, Randall Cobb, what do you think he brings to this offense?
I think Randall Cobb, like Mickey asked the question, I think he's a down-the-field player. You can, with Cole Beasley, it's a little bit underneath those shallow crosses, the stuff, the quick stuff. But I think with Randall Cobb, you can see him down the field. This is a running back that can play wide receivers. A quarterback in college, you get the ball to him in space, he can make things happen. They're already stealing plays from Green Bay, the quick screens and things like that to get him up the field. He can make a difference. That Cole Beasley was good. I think this guy could be even better.
And along those lines, I think that he doesn't have to line up in the slot. Because he's a down-the-field guy, like Brian says, he can line up all over the field, which will open things up even more because Cooper's a type of guy that can play in the slot. That's a little bit different than what Beasley had with Dez. Dez kind of lined up on one spot. I think because the versatility, Cobb and Cooper give you a lot more there.
All right, we're taking him to the ground now. There's Mike White at quarterback.
Yeah, nice job, though. They throw the screen coming out the right side, though, and a really hustle play by Joe Jackson coming from his defensive end spot. This is a kid from Miami. Here we go. This is the ball. Screen outside, though. You got some blockers. Here comes Weber. They got everything kind of secured, and bam, there's a big hit right there. Nice job by Jackson coming all over from his right defensive end position.
5th-round draft pick out of Miami, out of the U.
Yeah, they were surprised that he was still there in the 5th round. They thought quite a bit about him.
Running play and not much there. Daniel Wise, 64, up with a vengeance. He's out of Kansas. His brother Dietrich Wise, of course, a starter for the New England Patriots.
Oh, what a good player, though, in college. He played on a bad football team, and when you're watching tape of guys playing on bad teams and they're playing hard no matter the score, you need to get them on your team. And Wise is one of those guys. He can play end, he can play tackle. Right here, he's playing the left defensive end spot.
Right next to 79 there, that's Tristan Hill, the 2nd-round draft pick out of Central Florida, so we'll keep an eye on him. He gets a taste of it here.
Yeah, he's had some good plays and bad plays, been a little bit inconsistent with that.
Time for White this time. Fires over the middle.
Oh, that's
Ball
a
comes out.
Of course, Alumba's got it.
Yeah,
Donovan
Donovan
Olumba.
Olumba. Absolutely. Olumba coming over there. Nice job, though. You know, that ball was thrown inside. Mike White threw it with some time, had some protection. Ball goes inside right there, though, and, you know, you feel like, though, oh, that was going to be the catch. Oh,
And that was Reggie Davis.
Reggie Davis. Unfortunately for Reggie, you know, he catches that ball, gets up the field, but then he fumbles.
Good,
Mike
Reggie.
Jackson there. Joe Jackson made the first play. Mike Jackson there knocked that ball out, the rookie.
I'll tell you what, we need the turnover chain allowed on this one right
Yeah,
there. That was
well
a
done from you.
great job right there of knocking that ball loose. Boy, but Davis, he had that opportunity. He catches it, and he's got to go, and he just kind of cautiously, you can't tiptoe in this league. You got to burst. You got to get up the field. He took a good shot.
The thing about Mike Jackson too, he's not extremely tall, but his arms are super long. I mean, and that's
Prototypical what they're looking
right
for.
there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Run to the left side.
Yeah, that's their play they call 37. That's just going off the left-hand side. On the right side, it'd be 38. The even holes to the right, the odd holes to the left. And that's just an off-tackle play that they use. You try and get the point of attack hooked and then get some push and get that back around the corner, though. But nice job over there again. Probably Joe Jackson over there playing well. We got Jokes in there right now, number 74. It'll be interesting to see what he does here playing this left defensive end.
56 is Joe Jackson at right defensive end. Jalen Jelks, 74 at left defensive end. Of course, if he makes the 53-man roster, Jalen Jelks is not keeping number 74.
Nope, not at all.
Belongs, of course, to Mr. Cowboy Bob Lilly.
Ball underneath to
Jordan
Chun.
Chun.
Yeah, Jordan Chun, and then again, Donovan Olumba coming up. Donovan Olumba is not afraid. He is a kid, Nick, he was with us the whole summer. Nobody told him he could go home.
No.
You know, I mean, everybody else go, hey, you go home, have a little break. No, Donovan Olumba stayed around, had lunch with us every day.
You're talking after minicamp.
After
Still
minicamp, he just loves
5
football.
weeks.
Yeah,
But
he
he's-
loves football.
He's tall and lanky, but he plays physical.
He is very physical, very physical.
Let's coming, and that dumps it off to Chun. Has some running room. He delivers ahead himself.
Yeah, that was Wilson, the safety that tried to come over there. Donovan Wilson, number 37 from
Nice.
Texas A&M.
We're
Nice
probably going to
There
cut
you go,
him.
Mike White. Yeah, Mike White going to dump the ball underneath, and that's in space. And look at that big man rumble, boom, lower that shoulder, and that Texas Aggie guy goes, whoa, wait a minute, give me some help here. But yeah, nice job by Wilson stepping up and making the tackle there.
He's Donovan Wilson used to getting hit by big Alabama running backs, but not big Troy Alabama running
Not
backs.
Big Troy, Alabama running backs. You're right about that. Nice job by Mike White here, though, kind of taking what he can give you, or what they're giving him, you know, moving the team. That's line one, right, Nick? Move the team, have command of what's going on, and then find a way to finish this drive off if you can.
It could be big for Mike White.
Sure can. Get Brian Broaddus off his back.
You know, there was a lot of talk about Jameis Olawale getting some snaps as the big thumper back.
Right.
But now that Chun is kind of doing what he's doing, I haven't really heard a lot about that with Olawale.
No, not at all. And I'll tell you, Mickey Spagnola was dead on about Chun. Don't sleep on him, because we're going to see some preseason games where he's going to be involved, especially if they get a little lead and they get that 4-minute segment and they're trying to kill the game. He's not a bad guy to hand it to.
Okay, if Chun gets it again, then Mickey gets a chance to gloat. We're going to go to Mickey. If Chun gets it.
Here we go.
And here we go.
He's got to
And
get
it's-
positive yards, though.
No, okay, Mickey, what do you think of that?
Yeah, there he goes. Hey, I just wanted to know, was it really a fumble or you needed to challenge it?
I tell you what, it looked like it got knocked out, Mickey.
Okay.
Yeah, I got knocked out on that one.
It was on the other side of the field from where
There
You had your red flag ready to throw it, didn't you,
I
Mickey?
did, because Reggie Davis has done such a good job. It's
Yeah.
like one of the few mistakes he's made. He catches the ball, and he's not just a speed guy. And here he is lined up wide to the right. Let's see if they go to him, because it looks like he's going to have single coverage here on Joe Jackson. On Mike Jackson, excuse me.
His eyes are open up, and it's Joe Jackson on him.
Yep.
Flushed out is White, motioning for a receiver to get open downfield. He decides to run it out of bounds himself.
Yeah, that's the thing with Mike White, though. I mean, he will get on the move if he feels like, and here's the replay of that. You get some inside pressure right there. You kind of see the routes develop down the field, but it's all blue shirts on those routes. So Mike White decides, you know what, I need to live to fight for another day, and gets out of bounds.
It's like Danny White trying to get Drew Pearson open in Atlanta.
Oh, what a moment that was in Cowboys playoff history in Atlanta. What a great game that was.
Need to see a little bit more of these tackles, these young tackles get in there and get off some blocks. And there we go. A little bit of bounce it outside.
Escaping.
Weber. Yeah.
Mike Weber, 7th round pick out of Ohio State. Making like
Weber.
It up inside, though. He got to the pylon, though. Looked like the defense kind of had him in place, Nick, and then all of a sudden he just bounced into the outside.
Sometimes those shorter guys like that, I mean,
lost.
Emmett always used to say that too. They couldn't find him.
Yeah, he did. Nobody wrapped him up in those blue shirts. That was a problem right there. DeCoux couldn't get him, and then Wilson couldn't get over to make the play. Nice drive by Mike White to get the team into the end zone. That's, again, bottom line with the quarterback. Move the team, finish drives, and he got a little assistance right there from Chun, running the ball, catching the ball, and then a bounce run right there by Weber to get him in.
Yep, and so Weber, who was a freshman All-American, by the way, in 2016 at Ohio State, right after Zeke.
Let me tell you, this guy, they had a 3rd-round grade on him, and here they are in the 7th round. This is the old scout me. They had a 3rd-round grade on him and said, wait, whoa, that tag's still on that board. Even though they'd already drafted Pollard, he has a better grade than Pollard, but they circled back and then drafted this kid. 3rd-round grade on that guy.
Last year the Cowboys, also in the 7th round, took a big school running back in Bo Scarborough. What's the difference between Mike Weber and Bo Scarborough?
I think with you talk about just overall elusive, quick, we saw that right there. I don't know if Bo Scarborough could bounce that ball like that just there. So.
You know, one of the things, too, that Mark Colombo said right after the draft is that when we get to the 2nd and 3rd, 4th quarters of preseason games, our offensive line, we're going to be able to block a lot better. We got some really good free agents, we got some rookies, and it's not going to be, you know, a tough situation like it has been in preseason games. I think you saw something right there that offensive line was helping them.
Well, you have to have a good offensive line to evaluate your team. You need to evaluate these young runners, the quarterbacks, the wide receivers. If you're constantly going 3 and out every series, there's no evaluation there, guys. Work on your offensive line, move the football, finish some drives, evaluate your team.
We've got a lot to get to as the Cowboys wrap up this practice. We're going to take you all the way up to 8 o'clock Central Time. So we've got a lot of opportunity here to talk with some players, perhaps some coaches as well. Nick Eatman, we appreciate you joining us here over the last 50 minutes or so. Some bonus time with Nick Eatman.
Absolutely.
Robert Phillips of DallasCowboys.com will be joining us. Much to get to as we analyze the 2019 edition of the Dallas Cowboys from Oxnard, California, in just a moment.
Brian Broaddus here from DallasCowboys.com, and as you're watching this blue-white scrimmage, you need to focus on some things. And again, I'm one of those guys, as the former scout, I try to focus in on a lot of things. But, you know, maybe there's a couple of things you need to focus on, and we've seen some of that already. I've been very critical of Mike White, the quarterback. I've been looking for, as we've talked about, things through the OTAs, the mini camps. Who is going to be the backup quarterback? We look right now, you have a guy like Cooper Rush. I think he's clearly ahead of Mike White. But it's drives like what Mike White just had there that kind of gives you that pause, like, okay, I saw that at Western Kentucky. That's the type of guy, the guy that's moving the team, the guy that has command of what's going on, the guy that's throwing the ball where he needs to be. Those are the types of things you need to see from your quarterback. I asked Jason Garrett about that not too long ago, and he was able to say, hey, listen, line one is moving the football. Nice job there by Mike White, though. Need to see more of that. Take advantage of the situations that you get. Good job there, Mike White.
Run sprints.
Had a chance to sit down with DeMarcus Lawrence earlier in camp, and of course he signed the big contract in the off-season, and coming off surgery, shoulder surgery earlier in the off-season, so as expected, not participating early in camp. He's on the PUP list. Right now, let's check in with Mickey Spagnola. He's got a special guest. Mickey?
Bill, I do. I've got Will McClay here with me on the sideline as the Cowboys are running sprints here after the scrimmage. And Will, impressions of maybe what you saw today?
I think it was exciting to see. The offense came out a little bit hot early, and you got to see the competitive spirit of the defense. But I think looking at guys perform in these situations that are more game-like, got more people in the stands, kind of off script, but seeing guys execute was good.
Jordan Chun kind of put his hand up in the air and said, hey, don't forget about me, the way he was running the ball here.
Absolutely, that's what we want. We put guys in these competitive opportunities, and the guys that love it, they step up and they make you rethink your thoughts or whatever, or continue evaluating. And every opportunity he gets, he does a good job with it.
My understanding, you guys were pretty high on him. I think everybody was looking like, oh, he was just a practice squad guy last year, but I think he started to elevate himself.
Yes, absolutely. I think that, people forget about guys at the bottom of the roster, and we built this roster to be competitive. So everybody that's on this roster has to compete. And he steps up. He's got that balance and body control. He has to pick up pass protection and those sort of things, but he's a good running back, and we're continuing to see him grow.
And Mike Weber said, hey, I'm here too.
Yeah, Mike Weber was a guy that we talked about in the draft and knew he had those run skills, and he's getting an opportunity to show it against guys, and he's running against the ones doing some good things.
Now, it's no secret on how well this defense has been playing so far. Sean Lee's not out there right now, DeMarcus Lawrence, Ty Crawford, but what's out there, these guys have been performing pretty well, especially pressure on the quarterback, I thought.
Yeah, I think, our defense, the success of our defense starts with the front, and, you don't have those guys in there, the 90 and the 98, but now it's giving these other guys an opportunity to make the roster and seeing who compete and do it the right way. They get coached hard and they need to play hard.
So I think we see the obvious stuff with that defense. Is there anybody out there that just kind of caught your eye or maybe came out of nowhere that's kind of showing up in this week and a half of practice?
I think all the young guys are competing. The Wise, and Tristan Hill, and Jelks, and Joe Jackson, and they're pushing the older guys. They're watching, but they're also pushing. So I think the young defensive linemen playing our kind of way is a big thing. I think that the linebackers, we have a couple of young linebackers. We have the young receivers that are showing up. So that's exciting.
And one of the guys that we've been talking about, I know he had the ball come out, but Reggie Davis has shown he has a little bit more than just speed.
Yes, he's come a long, long way. We had him on the practice squad last year. Saw the speed element, but he's developed into a guy that's competing for a spot because he's got that juice, but he shows he to be a consistent receiver.
Okay, Will, appreciate it. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks, man.
Okay, Bill, back to you.
Will McClay doing such a great job running those drafts. Bill Jones, Brian Broaddus, and now joined by Rob Phillips. Rob was a sideline observer throughout this scrimmage and the practice. And what were your impressions, what you saw today, Rob?
I think it's a sign of a complete team when you see a good back and forth between the offense and the defense. In the last couple of days, I think the defense won a lot of these matchups. But you saw Dak Prescott towards the end of the team period gets Randall Cobb back in practice, Michael Gallup there on some crossing routes. They were productive there moving the football. And I think Will McClay spoke to it too. Got to see some young guys get in there, make some plays, closer to real football as they inch closer to the preseason game against 49ers.
How much do the young guys benefit from this, Brian, as they get ready to play in a preseason game on Saturday night at San Francisco?
Well, the fact that they got to hit each other a little bit. Now, they hit each other in practice, but they don't get to bring guys to the ground. That was really, Joe Jackson running all the way over and making a physical tackle like that. I hadn't seen that since watching him play against North Carolina or playing against Virginia. So it's good to see those guys get that opportunity. These scrimmages or these practices, when they go back and watch his tape, I've been in that room before. All of a sudden, Will said it himself. you've got to find out. He goes, hey, maybe makes you rethink things a little bit about different players, but it also tells the coaches, like, hey, let's give this guy a little bit more of a chance at practice. Hey, he's a third-team guy right now. We saw it with Antoine Woods. Let's run him with the twos. Let's run him against Zach Martin or Connor Williams when they're in there. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think that it's just another opportunity. If you can't get noticed in a scrimmage, then they're not going to notice you as one of the potential 53 guys on this roster.
I think the defensive line, to your point, is a great example, and Will just spoke about it. Rod Marinelli, the defensive coordinator, told us a couple days ago there's not a whole lot of difference in talent level first through third string. So it's an opportunity, and Antoine Woods is the perfect example of a guy that worked his way up last year. They mentioned Daniel Wise, some of these other guys.
Yeah.
You see Tristan Hill getting a little work in with the ones. It is an opportunity, and it gives them a little bit of an evaluation when you go up against the big fellas in the first year.
But then again, though, if you go out here and you have a bad day, again, you're trying to stack. It sounds corny to say.
Stacking those days.
Stacking those days. And again, as receivers, a guy like Reggie Davis has stacked a bunch of good days. Now, all of a sudden, though, he has a ball knocked loose. Well, Sanjay Lyle in the meeting can say, Red, it's a context.
Okay, we've had 8 practices now here at camp. You go back over a week ago yesterday, they started the first of 4 straight days of practices. They took a day off on Wednesday, then 4 straight practices, and then they'll be off tomorrow. So over these 8 days, Rob, what has stood out more than anything to you so far?
I like the way this defense is flying around out here. I really do. I like the secondary guys. You're seeing a really strong start to camp by Achito Awuzie, Anthony Brown at corner, Xavier Woods with another interception today. I believe that's his 3rd of training camp. And as Will said earlier, it starts with the pressure up front, but I think they're really happy with the way their young defensive backs are playing in camp. And I think when you get all your pieces back, everybody healthy, Sean Lee back, that's the makings of a strong defense that can build on what they did last year.
And speaking about the secondary, that's without Byron Jones out there.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, my look is, I see Kellen Moore is not going to stand in one spot. He is going to take advantage of the weapons he has. He is going to find ways to put his players in positions to make plays. Now it's going to be up to Dak Prescott to make sure that he finishes those plays. But I really like what I've seen so far. I like the pre-snap motions. I like the bunch formations. I like the creativity. I like to do a lot of different things here that what I've seen from Kellen Moore.
As you see the team gathered at midfield, meanwhile, they're getting a passionate speech right there. Meanwhile, the media is awaiting the opportunity to talk with the players after practice. We've had many faces in the crowd over the course of the last week here, including Mark Wahlberg yesterday made his way to camp. And there have been others throughout the week as well. And that's one of the great things about being near Hollywood.
Yes.
That you never know who's going to show up here at Cowboys.
We've had a Kevin Costner sighting in the past. You just never know.
Well, it is. And, a lot of these actors and actresses and all that come out here are famous people. They're football fans. You can sit down and, it's crazy how they like to come up to you and you're a little bit starstruck, and then you're like talking football and you're like, oh yeah, no, I read all about it, and you're just kind of, oh, thanks for reading, kind of thing. Thanks for paying attention.
Omar Epps, he loves your work, right?
Omar Epps will sit down and watch some film with me. So I'm a big fan of Omar Epps. He comes in and he's like, he calls me, he goes, hey, tell me what's going on out there, man. Tell me what's going on out there. He'll sit down and watch. So yeah, Omar Epps and I are we're film buddies now.
Yeah. And when you look ahead for the Cowboys this preseason, playing at San Francisco next Saturday night. And then, so they'll be here in Oxnard for the next week. They'll be practicing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, travel up the road on Friday for the Saturday night game, then back here to close out camp. And then there's a little trip to Hawaii. They'll leave on Thursday, the 15th, prior to the game against the Rams in Hawaii on the 17th. And we're all looking forward to that.
Oh, yes.
Well, it's going to be a good opportunity because it might be the dress rehearsal game for them, for the Cowboys, if you think about it, of how the schedule might play out, because the team comes back from Hawaii, you have Sunday off, you have Monday off, and then you have to find a way to, will they go on a short week and make that their dress rehearsal? We'll see.
All right, Mickey Spagnola has another very special guest. Mickey.
Bill, I do. I've got Cowboys head coach Jason Garrett, blue-white scrimmage. What were your thoughts on it?
I thought it was a great day. I really did. We did a lot of different situations. Short yardage, goal line. We had a lot of different red zone periods, some 2-minute stuff. We got a chance to see the young guys at the end compete, tackle to the ground, play close to real football. And I thought the approach by everybody was really good. They were dialed in. They were focused in. I told them it's going to be the best tape that we're going to see all training camp long. It's going to be fun to go to the meetings tonight and just see how we did.
I think maybe they on that last run by Mike Weber, they might have thought they were still touching up. They forgot to put him on the ground.
Yeah, and that's really why you do it. You can get into this practice tempo where you come over to a guy and you thud him up or you tag off on it. But 6 days from now, we're going to be up in San Francisco. We're going to be playing a real football game. And a lot of young guys are going to get a lot of those reps throughout that ball game, and they got to be ready to play. So this was the next step. And again, at first glance, it looked like they handled it well.
So I don't know about you, but it was exciting for us to see the goal line period down there. What were your thoughts on what you saw there? It was really the first time we've seen tackling to the ground.
Yeah, we had live goal line right at the outset of the practice. And you said it, that was the tackle to the ground period, even for the veteran guys. And I thought it was good. I thought it was spirited, and the guys handled it the right way. When we got down in there in that red zone period, we didn't want to make a true goal line because we didn't want to tackle. It was a different tempo, so handle that situation differently. But to get those 4 snaps under our belt on both sides was good for our team.
You know, this scrimmage seemed to be kind of capsulized what's been going on in practice so far. There was good things on the defense and then good things on the offense, and it kind of went back and forth.
Yeah, and that's really what you want. That's how you want to build your team. You want to be competitive every day among all the groups. Offense wins, defense wins. It keeps going back and forth. And the big thing you look for as a coaching staff is how does each unit respond? How does each player respond to the success you have or the adversity you have over the course of the practice? And we had a lot of both throughout the practice today.
And I thought we got another glimpse of Randall Cobb, kind of a different slot receiver. He can get down the field. Not to say Cole Beasley can't, but he's a little bigger receiver for a slot guy, and he seems to be able to do more things for you.
Yeah, Randall's just a good football player, and I hate comparing players. We know we had to go against Randall a lot when he was playing up in Green Bay, and he always seemed to make very impactful plays for them. So we're excited to have him. He's had a great start to the offseason, great start to training camp. It was good to see him getting some action today, making some big plays.
Have you seen your backup quarterbacks, Cooper Rush, Mike White, make some progress? They go through all last year during the season. They don't really get much. They don't even get to play. And they were a little rusty maybe beginning of OTAs, but they seem to be making progress, especially Cooper Rush.
Yeah, they just need to play. That's the biggest thing for all the young guys, particularly at that quarterback position. There's so much going on. So the more you play, if you go about it the right way, you're going to get better. And each of those guys has done a good job getting ready for their reps, getting ready for their opportunities. This was kind of the